A new card has been revealed, Sacrificial Performers. It seems a bit underwhelming on its own, but there are some cards that currently exist that have been begging for duplicates of this kind of effect. Previously, they've only had Command of the Eldari to lean on, but now, with this new Sacrificial Performers card, there's multiple ways for them to generate bunches of little Eldari tokens, so you can finally dust off your Feast of Souls and start drawing tons of cards, and break out the Wrathscale Naga to be able to summon 7 dudes, trade 1 off, play your Wrathscale Naga, summon 6 more dudes, and yeah, go to town with all that burst damage. You might even be able to somehow in your head justify the Blood Herald to be making an inclusion in your deck. So it's pretty cool. This might be the glue that actually stitches together Token Demon Hunter. A Revenant Rascal. This card's pretty cool. This is a Warlock card that actually does Warlock-y thing. For a while, Warlock's class direction has been discard, and this is in the class direction of destroying mana crystals for people, which Warlock kind of had a few cards that did that. There was that 3/5 taunt that destroys Warlock's own mana cards, but I really love the flavor, I love the direction. Discard mechanic really didn't sit well with me. It hasn't been one that's been super great. It's been usually too swingy, and having no cards in your hand is usually not very much fun. So I'm more interested to see this new direction for Warlock, this hindering your opponent, the disruption Warlock kind of thing. Maybe this is a card that could be really well utilized in Zoo. I don't know, it's a mechanic we don't really have too much of, so I'm interested to see how mana disruption really ends up playing out. Next up, there's Petting Zoo, a newly revealed Hunter card. This is an effect that repeats for each secret you control. So for every secret you control, you get a 3/3. So Secret Synergy coming back into Hunter. We've had Secret Synergy been core to Hunter's identity for a really long time, back in the Mad Scientist days. Back in the day, we had Cloaked Huntress, which would allow hunters to get a lot of secrets in play. So in Wild, you could utilize that, but it has since rotated. In Standard, we still have the Phase Stalker floating about that could, you know, be an easy way to get secrets in play. But basically, if you have 2 secrets in play and then you play this, it's gonna be very powerful. If you're unable to do that, it's not going to be very good. A lot of the Hunter secrets kind of get procced the turn that they're played, though. You think Freezing Trap, Snake Trap, Explosive Trap, things like that. They're very easy conditionals to be met to pop the secret, so it can be hard to get you know, 2 secrets in play. But it's basically going to depend on, is the metagame a bunch of minion-based decks that are going to be proccing your Freezing and Snakes and other minion interaction secrets? Are there going to be new secrets that come out that are more difficult to proc, that you could have just kind of sitting there in the wait, being able to get Petting Zoo value, and then also being able to be worth their weight and end up, when they finally do get triggered, have a powerful effect happen? If those are true, then this card's going to be good. If those are not true, then this card's not going to be very good. We'll just have to kind of wait and see how the card pool looks and what the types of secrets end up being. Next up, we have Don't Feed the Animals. So this is a Corrupt card. The Corrupt mechanic is if you play a card that costs more mana than that Corrupt card, it becomes activated and the Corrupt effect will happen. So this is a very cheap card, very easy to get the Corrupt effect on. The Corrupt effect means you just gotta play a 3 or more cost card, so it pretty much is gonna be Corrupt almost every time you play it for some dank hand buff Hunter shenanigans. If there's some lifesteal minions or some rush minions that can, or even charge minions, then this card's going to see play and be potentially pretty powerful. Historically, hand buff has been pretty rough. Usually things needed to have Divine Shield, Lifesteal, and Taunt to be justified worth the hand buff, thinking back to hand buff Paladin days. And even then, that deck was still pretty shady. And there were 3 keywords, and that was a time when like Zilliax existed and stuff like that. And then there was further magnetics you could do on things after hand buffing them, and you could hand buff magnetic things and then magnetize them onto things. So there was like 10 things pushing hand buff, and hand buff was still just like, I don't know, Kibler played it, so like there was like one guy doing well with it, but I mean, that's Kibler and he could probably do well with anything. So in my experience with Hearthstone, hand buff is a rough mechanic to get. It's gonna need a lot of pushing before it's really good. So I'm skeptical about feeding the animals here. So I'd say don't feed the animals now. Maybe in the future, if there's some really good Divine Shield, Rush, Lifesteal minions for Hunter, then we feed those animals. Next up, there's a Ring Toss. Discover a secret and cast it. corrupt to discover 2 secrets instead. So this is pretty terrible uncorrupted. Uncorrupted, you're paying 4 mana to play 3 mana, which is rough. You do get to choose which secrets you have in play, which is very reminiscent of the Arcane Keysmith, which didn't have the corrupt text at the bottom, but instead was a 4-mana 2/2 that discovered a secret and put it into play. During card reviews for that card, everybody was kind of saying, yeah, the Arcane Keysmith, you know, you're spending 4 mana for a secret and a 2/2 body, really doesn't do anything at that stage of the game. Ended up being a very powerful card and saw a lot of play in Reno Mage and other forms of Mage, just because being able to choose the correct secret for the matchup happened to be really powerful with the secret pool that was available. So if the secret pool remains to be quite strong, and you could kind of figure out from the discovery your percentages, all right, I'm this likely to get these secrets and these secrets. Sometimes being able to select the secret for the correct matchup is a very powerful effect. So I don't want to discount Ring Toss automatically. It does seem like it costs too much mana, but it's an effect that time and time again has seen being very powerful, being able to choose which mage secret you want, because there are a lot of very strong mage secrets that do nothing in one matchup and then are absurd in another matchup, like Counterspell or Spellbender or Ice Barrier, for example, where Ice Barrier is totally useless against control, but literally wins you the game against aggro decks. So I think this card has a lot of potential to see play as a tech inclusion that allows your deck to be flexible and adapt to the scenario that you're presented with. And I love those types of cards. I love being able to be flexible. I love being able to choose which direction I want to go, not only in the deck building phase, but literally during the game. I want to be able to adjust what my plan is on the spot. And this happy little turtle is the guy that's going to make it happen for me. Next, we have the Hammer of the Naaru. This is a paladin weapon that, on the battle cry, summons a holy elemental with taunt. 6 mana, 6/6, not the most exciting thing in the world, but you do get this weapon, which weapons in paladin, not too shabby. They do allow you to clean up some smaller minions, do things like that. Paladin doesn't have the most amount of AoE in the world, so they're usually fighting directly on tempo, and either player really only has 1 minion on the board at a time, and they're kind of trading back and forth, so these kind of grindy weapons and things like that tend to do pretty well. One of the problems that I could see with this card is Libram of Justice automatically equipping a Light's Justice. Kind of competes with that kind of utility weapon that's just hanging around slot. Paladin's already got a card that does that. So this is another utility weapon kind of just hanging around. So I'm not sure that this is going to see too much play. It really isn't what Paladin needs to kind of adapt its style and go into a more wider range of things. It seems like a very fair and honest card, and Paladin kind of needs more cheaty things. But we'll see. Maybe they get some Battlecry synergies, or Holy Elementals do something extra in the future. But for now, it seems underwhelming. Next up, we have Illiganoff, which makes your lifesteal damage the enemy hero instead of healing you. So, holy smokes, wow. With the Warblades, you have now turned Warblades from the device that saves you into the device that absolutely kills your opponent times a billion, which I really, really like. This means you get to adjust during the game how you want to play your Demon Hunter deck. Is this a matchup where I'm against a control deck that has OTK combos that I need to heal for? Okay, maybe I just play this guy out for tempo. Or maybe is this a deck, I'm against an aggro deck. Okay, I need to heal in this matchup, so I'll play it out for tempo when I have it early. Or maybe you're thinking, I don't want to heal right now because I want to save all my twin slices for the burst to finish my opponent 1 turn before he's able to finish me. So you can kind of adjust how you're using the resources, how you're using twin slice, how you're using chaos strike, how you're using your warblades. Am I using warblades to stay alive in the mid game, or am I saving warblades for the end for a final burst? So it definitely adapts how you look at how you're playing out your Demon Hunter games. It's a card that I think has a lot of flavor. It changes how you think about the game, and it seems pretty powerful. So I really love the design of this card. It does something cool and makes me think about Demon Hunter in different ways. So I really like this, and I think it's going to see play and be a welcomed inclusion in the Hearthstone space. Next up, Prize Plunderer. Deal 1 damage to a minion for each other card you've played this turn. We've had effects like this in the past with Spectral Pillager, which dealt damage equal to the number of other cards you've played this turn as well, but that was a 6-drop, and it saw absolutely no play as a 6-mana 5/5 because you can't play too many cards alongside a 6-drop. However, this card is a 1-drop, so yeah, you can play a lot of cards alongside a 1-drop, especially in Rogue, and you can use this to feed into your Edwin Van Cleef by shadow stepping this guy a bunch and things like that. This is going to be quite a powerful card, especially for the class that it's in. It's a huge amount of removal. They made it so it's only damage to a minion. That's the difference between this and Spectral Pillager, which I feel like they had to do, because otherwise there'd be like Prize Plunderer, OTKs, and stuff like that everywhere. So you can only target minions, but even knowing you can only target minions, this is going to be a very, very powerful 1-drop that's going to enable lots of easy, quick, clean removal from rogues so they can stay one step ahead of the opponent and also make giant Edwins still. It's going to be, it's right in the vein of what Rogue already likes to do, and they're going to continue doing it, man. So anyway, that's all the cards we have now that we've seen anyway. It's November 4th. Thanks, guys, for watching. I'll try and keep up to date with all the cards as they come out, and I appreciate all the support to the channel. I've been trying to overhaul some things like the descriptions and thinking about how I do titles differently. We started a VOD channel, trying to link things together more. Got playlist section is getting kind of revamped, so things are going to be more organized in there. All sorts of stuff for quality of life to try and make sure the channel keeps on being alive. So I appreciate you guys bearing with me while I tidy up all those things. I appreciate any of this follows, subscribers, any of that kind of stuff. Thanks, guys, for watching, and have a good rest of your day. Hey guys, Firebat here. Gonna give you my quick thoughts on the new cards that are just coming out. Don't want to take up too much of your time, just initial first impressions. So first we have the 7-mana 8/5 Hunter mech card, Darkmoon Faire. It is a death rattle card that fires 4 missiles at enemies that